What's going on, guys? So we are still here in Dallas, Texas, taking a look at this brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra, but this is the TRD Pro. So this is their off-road package, or their more extreme off-road package, and we're gonna take a closer look at some of the details on this truck. Hang tight, I'll be right back. So by now, you've probably seen pretty much every video, every image on this truck if this is something you've been interested in. But I want to focus on some areas perhaps you haven't seen yet. So we're going to take a look underneath this truck. We're going to take a look at some of the areas on this truck that I like, and some areas that I think they might have been able to do a little differently. First of all, if you look at this really interesting kind of digital camo look that they've done here, I don't know. I like it, but at the same time, I kind of wish that was an aftermarket thing and not necessarily something that was just included. But what is your take? I think it looks cool. I think it would look really cool if this truck was like a gunmetal or a black truck, but it's something, in my opinion, that is not going to appeal to everybody. What's your take on it? Leave a comment below. On this truck, you can also see that it runs the Falcon Wild Peak AT tires on BBS forged wheels. These are 17-inch wheels, and apparently there's a 20-inch wheel option, but I don't know if it's available on the TRD. I think they mentioned that it was. But let's focus on some things that are kind of unique and interesting. First of all, you can see the TRD labeled dual exhaust pipes coming out of the side. Interesting rear bumper. It's not steel. It's kind of like a plastic material. And then it appears to all be a composite rear bumper. I've mentioned that this is a aluminum panel. This whole back fender area is actually aluminum. The cab section is high strength steel, but the front fenders and hood are aluminum. So you have aluminum, 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 steel, and then aluminum up front. It's all for weight savings. They also have a composite bed in the back. Again, weight savings, but also corrosion resistance. You're not going to have to worry about corrosion with this type of composite bed. And it solves the problem a lot of folks had with the previous generation Tundra, where, you know, the weak point was kind of the bed in terms of damage, dents, rust, and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting long term to see how the composite material holds up. It does have a coil rear suspension. Let's take a look underneath this truck. Okay, so underneath you see that it has a solid rear axle, very similar to the outgoing model with some subtle changes. This is a multi-link coil rear sprung suspension, which you can see if I slide over a little bit right here. This does have Fox shocks on the back of it and the front, and you can see the fully boxed frame back here as well. A big departure from that triple tech frame technology that they've used on the past. And I had a big conversation. Basically, I asked the question why they switched to this frame if the triple tech frame was such a good technology previously. So watch that video if you want to learn a little bit more about the frame technology and why they went with a fully boxed frame like all their competitors versus their engineered triple tech frame design. And then you have your 2-inch receiver back here. Would be nice if they offered it with a 2.5-inch receiver. Let's go to the midsection and take a look at some of the underbelly skid plate protection. All right, so I think I'm the only one hopping around underneath this truck. This is a pretty large frame section. Looks to be about 3 inches wide. Definitely has a beefy looking fully boxed frame. So your catalytic converter is right here. You can see all the heat shielding in place over here as well. And then you can see the underbelly protection right here. And he mentioned that it was aluminum. So I'm wondering if just that forward portion right there is aluminum or if the whole thing is. This actually looks like steel. See your transfer case right here. Let's scoot up a little bit more, take a closer look at the forward portion where the transmission is. Okay, so now we're under the transmission. Yeah, that is definitely aluminum. Looks to be 1/4-inch thick aluminum too, so they put a big beefy piece of aluminum there. You can see your front suspension. You can see your Fox coilovers there as well. It's gonna be really interesting to see how this truck performs and how it rides. TRDs have always had more of a kind of a plush, softer suspension, basically designed to go over, you know, off-road environments. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially with this fully boxed frame, how this new generation feels on the road, which we'll be doing a drive with relatively soon. You can see all the cross members here as well. Again, more protection here, even though that, I guess that's thicker than it seems. Seems thin right here, but definitely doesn't feel like it's that thin. But yeah, what do you guys think? Pretty cool view, huh? And then something that's also interesting is no tow hooks on the front or back. Now, tow hooks will likely be offered as an aftermarket accessory. If you swap your front bumper out, I'm sure they'll be offered on those, but from the factory, you're not going to see tow hooks, and that was mainly to achieve better fuel economy and aerodynamics with the truck. Truck overall looks nice. They're going to have a ton of accessories available, including some forged aluminum side steps as well as a rear bumper step. A lot of in-bed accessories. And then something that looks really nice is how they've gone to this kind of blacked out front A-pillar where it kind of wraps around, gives you that helmeted look to the front. I do like that. And I do like the front little grill section here. I think that looks really nice up front. Kind of looks like another brand, but at the same time, I think it stands out and it looks really good, especially on a TRD Pro truck. And something else that's really cool about this truck is that you have auto leveling headlights, which means when you load stuff up in the back of it, instead of the headlights blinding people coming towards you, they'll auto level themselves back down to the road. So that is a very cool feature. And from a horsepower and torque perspective, the TRD Pro is going to come with their new 3.5-liter twin-turbo iForce Max engine, which produces 437 horsepower and 583 pounds of torque. That's crazy, especially what they're squeezing out of these V6 engines. That's just phenomenal. All right, let's hop inside real quick and take a look at a few things. First of all, let's take a look at the cargo capacity. So this truck has a 1,455-pound cargo capacity. That is surprising because some of the other trucks I've seen are the same, but they're lower trim trucks, or they have what appears to be less features. So to have a TRD Pro with a relatively high cargo capacity is pretty cool. Looking inside this truck, sorry about the strange lighting, you'll see it has the TRD embroidered seats. Really cool looking, kind of that digital cam style to the seat. Has a panoramic sunroof on it. You can see this kind of split center console they do here. You know, I kind of like the workstation style center console where it's completely flat in case you want to throw a laptop or you want to do some work and you need to write notes. I like that about my truck, but what do you guys think? Do you prefer having the extra space right here versus a completely flat console? Because there are pockets everywhere on this truck. I like that it still uses a shifter here in the center console as opposed to the little rotary knob you're seeing on a lot of vehicles. And that rotary knob is for your different trail settings or your drive modes. So that's your selector right there. This truck does come with a locking rear differential, so you can lock up the back if you need to, plus crawl control, hill descent, all of those features that are pretty synonymous with Toyota. Up front, this is a digital mirror, which is kind of cool. And arguably one of the coolest features that they've added is such a simple one, and it's so intuitive and it just makes sense. So typically to release the tailgate on a pickup truck, you have to do it, at least on a newer pickup truck, you have to do it from your key fob, or you have to reach underneath the handle to do it, which can be problematic if you're carrying something heavy. Like the other day, I had a big Yeti cooler in my hands and I was going to try to load it in the bed of my truck, but you know, I end up getting to the bed of the truck, putting it on the ground, dropping the tailgate, and then reaching over because I didn't have a free hand. But one thing that they did, which is super cool, and it's available on any of the higher spec trucks, is they put this cool button right here, and all you do is walk up to it, hit your elbow on it, and it drops the tailgate. Such a simple, practical, useful, and intuitive feature to have on a truck. So I wish everyone follows suit, but right now, folks over at Toyota have definitely done something really cool and creative on their trucks. Okay, let's take a look at the back real quick. And again, this is a Super Crew, so this is going to be the longest cab configuration. Nice back seat, nice air conditioning vents back here. A lot of bolstering. The seats are very well bolstered. Tremendous amount of room back here. I think Toyota kind of changed the industry in terms of cab configurations by giving you huge cabs. Very, very cool though. What do you guys think about this truck? And of course, the rear window does slide down on the Tundra, which is something that Tundra kind of introduced to the world. But what do you guys think of this truck? I think it's an absolutely gorgeous truck. A couple little things that I would have done a little differently, like putting a steel front bumper, tow hooks, things like that. But overall, I think they've done a great job. But please leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.